welcome to this day one of a 50-day trial of Huel plus exercises, not Huel exercises, just exercising and looking at sleep patterns and looking at other lifestyle changes. Now, none of this is to sell Huel. I'm just trying it out for 50 days. I'm paying for it. But as this is going on YouTube, and if I put an advert in for my Udemy courses, then I guess I could justifiably claim the Huel costs as an expense. My own Huel costs, I should say. So, anyway. Why am I doing this? Well, in 2018, I had a mini stroke, and risk factors for strokes, apart from genetics and age, are things like blood pressure, being overweight, consumption of highly processed foods, trans fat, arguably foods high in saturated fat, sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise, poor sleep, alcohol, tobacco, etc. Anyway, in order to deal with those, or many of those factors, I cut back on a lot of food, lost weight, did a lot of exercise, lost about 20 kilos, I think, or more. I know I went from about 16 stone 10. I think my lowest was 12, 13, but that was 4.5 years ago. I'm older now, and presumably therefore my risk has increased. Yes, I recovered from a transient ischemic attack, TIA, in 2016, and then the mini stroke in 2018. So, why Huel? Well, I didn't know of any other major powder that promised all its nutrients. At that time, I was not aware of its competitors.
With the amount of money Huel spends on social media marketing and influencers, you'd think that when it comes to complete nutrition shakes, Huel is the only game in town. Well, no. And today I'm going to tell you why I think there are better alternatives. In particular, Rutana and Instant Knockout Complete. Let me tell you why.
And how even one of them, arguably, may even be better. So, I've been using Huel, the drink, not the powder, on and off for a couple of months. Just see, maybe perhaps 3 Huel a week or something. And then I thought I'd try and lose weight during February. But that was all a bit of a disaster because I didn't have a particular plan. I did exercise a bit more, but not every day, and I didn't plan the exercise. I didn't plan the sleep patterns, didn't follow one meal a day, restricted time feeding, intermittent fasting, I also didn't take measurements, didn't take notes. It was all a bit chaotic. So this time I've decided to do 50 days following a set meal plan. And the set meal plan is 2 Huels a day, maybe 3 if I get really hungry, and only eating salad or fruit to nibble at during the day, and then 1 low carb meal such as fish and salad, or eggs, beans and salad, or loads and loads of vegetables. I am fortunate that I live near a public bridleway in the countryside in Water Eaton near Oxford, so there's plenty of space for walking. And what I've decided to do is, I had various health checks done in October 2022, looking at things like triglycerides and cholesterol, iron and various red cells, white cells, etc. And I thought what I'll do is start off with those as a benchmark. I'll put them up on screen, but also to book a retest as soon as possible, and that can set the benchmark for this, the first day of the Huel experiment. And then in 50 days time, or pretty close, I'll have similar tests done, in particular looking at cholesterol, triglycerides, etc. I'll also do obvious things like hip to waist ratios, waist, hip, thighs, muscles, chest, neck, weight, BMI, etc., etc. So I can see and you can see any positive changes. Now, if I don't do the final video, it means that too is a complete disaster. Now, this does not mean I'll be doing a video on YouTube or anywhere else every single day. That would be way too self-indulgent, incredibly boring, and all I'd say is, oh, I walked here today, I lifted these barbells, I ran this, I did this. No, I'll just do the occasional one. And as it's over 50 days, which means it ends near the end of April, which is the end of Ramadan, incidentally, the time when millions and millions of people over the world end their fasting, I'll do a sort of a summary every 10 days, not a blood test every 10 days, but various waist, hip, etc. measurements, progress reports. So that's the first thing. Setting the markers, putting various pieces of information on screen so you can follow. And secondly, 2 Huels a day, or 2 meals replaced by Huel every day, possibly 3, and not eating before 12, not eating after 6, so that's 18 hours intermittent fasting, restricted time feeding of 6 hours a day. I know, watching another video on YouTube, a guy was saying he lost half a stone a week, which seems incredible to me.
Weight loss. So I've been on this now 3 weeks, and I've lost approximately 1.5 stone in 3 weeks, which is pretty amazing. That wasn't my intention.
And I think he lost 2 stone in a month, which is astonishing. Now, in addition to the stroke, I'm also, as you can probably tell by closely looking, I'm 67 years old. So I have some time on my hands, although I do work from home, and living in Oxford there's plenty of surrounding countryside. So there's plenty of space for exercise. And in terms of routine, you've got the eating habits. I plan to walk, not film, walk. So there won't be hour-long films of me walking. Walk an hour a day, brisk walking. Not necessarily for a solid hour, perhaps for 2 half hours, for example. And also to estimate at the end of each day, and then post an average, approximately how many hours I spend sitting. Also, regularly take blood pressure. So, a degree of monitoring will take place. The exercise would be a morning walk, possibly go swimming at lunchtime, as there is a council gym. Well, there's 4 gyms within 2 miles of here. And then 5 o'clock or thereabouts to do, when I'm supposedly at peak, do some resistance training or weight training. At home, I do have a mini trampoline, cost about £30, and some second-hand weights and some resistance bands. Whole thing cost about 50 quid. It's not a particularly big room, so I keep it behind the settee, the trampoline. Anyway, maybe use that if the weather is really bad in the morning. But try and get out walking every day. At the moment, it's pretty cold, sleet, and well, I'm cold, and I will walk a bit faster as I get colder and colder to try and keep warm or start to get warm. So the component parts so far will be the eating of Huel, the planning of when to eat, the exercise regime, the measurements, and now I move to sleep. The general plan is to always rise just before sunrise, and therefore some of these videos may be with the sun just rising, which would be rather nice. And I did think circadian rhythm, etc., going to bed at sunset, but that would be fairly early, around about 6 in the evening. So instead, make sure I'm in bed by 9. That gives about 9 hours in bed. All computer and phone use to stop by 8 in the evening. And perhaps, if I'm not particularly tired, although I would have thought I would be, with not so much to eat and quite a lot of exercise, read a book before going to sleep. So, we'll have sleep, Huel, measurements and planning and exercise for 50 days. Again, I stress, I'm not urging people to buy Huel. I'm not selling it. I'm just trying it. Oh, I should add, I'm going to use the Huel forums to ask questions about Huel, its content comparisons, its effects, etc. Replies I get, I'll post here as well. Talking of which, this is a Huel study done sometime, I don't know how long ago actually. Here's the link, and you may find it interesting. And oh, I should add with the exercise, virtually none of it will cost anything. Gym membership, just using a swimming pool, will cost maybe £2 a time, £3. And as I said, this is a public bridleway, and there's other parks in Oxford. So I'll be trying to exercise. This is March 2023 and snow is coming. I'll try to exercise outside as much as possible, in the hope that if others follow the same routine, then they can exercise outside as well. So lack of exercise facilities won't be a restriction. But the main thing about losing weight would be the consumption of Huel or the lack of consumption of other things. I don't drink alcohol anyway, I don't smoke, but I do like chocolate.
Let's talk about the health benefits of cacao and dark chocolate. Now, cacao is the raw bean that's then fermented and processed into chocolate, okay? But there are some serious health benefits to both of these items.
And I do drink quite a lot of caffeinated coffee, which I'll also stop. And I do sit down a lot. So we will see what happens. So this is the rather long first video, and that's it for today, day 1. Thank you.